Welcome inside the debut episode of Bill Matic, everybody. I'm DA Damon Amendolara, and I'm going to take you through a weekly series investigating, dissecting, and following this potential Super Bowl season for the Buffalo Bills. We are infused with 90s hip-hop around here. Why? Because I love it dearly. I love the history of football. It all combines into this show, and a hat tip to one of the great hip-hop albums ever, Nas's Illmatic. And so this is going to be your combination of old school mixtape with the future of football. And is this finally the year the Bills break through? The reason that I'm doing this, and you can catch me weekday mornings on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82 on Sirius XM, and then Sunday mornings on the NFL Tailgate on NFL Radio, Channel 88 on Sirius XM, is because there is more urgency combined with more potential than any other NFL team seeking a Super Bowl championship, maybe in 25 years. Here's what I mean. The last time there was a team like this that was knocking on the door for years, but unable to break through, and fans had multiple generations of misses, were the Kansas City Chiefs. But that was before Patrick Mahomes got there. And once Mahomes showed up, they immediately won a Super Bowl. And so with Josh Allen in play for so many years, it's not quite the Chiefs. Before that, you had the Eagles. They were knocking on the door for years with multiple quarterbacks. But again, Nick Foles kind of rides in to save the day in 2017. And finally, a football mad city like Buffalo has that elusive Super Bowl championship. But that's not quite the right comp as well. I think you might have to go back to the 2006 Indianapolis Colts, where Peyton Manning was there, installed with an offense, great weapons around, great weapons on defense, and a team and a franchise that had been close but no cigar for a long time and finally got that Vince Lombardi. But Indianapolis isn't Buffalo. They didn't have all of these misses like the Bills have had. And Colts fans, while very good, are not Bills Mafia. So this has more storyline packed into it than maybe any other Super Bowl champion, would-be Super Bowl champion in decades. Also, look, there's no doubt about it. There's history here. The 4 Super Bowl losses, but also the final season, the farewell of this stadium. So all season long, I'm going to be digging into the past of the Buffalo Bills in this stadium and have former Bills greats drop on by to talk about their memories. So not only is there the urgency and the history, there's also the proximity for me. I'm located in the southern part of New York State, in the Hudson Valley of New York, but I've got some of my best friends upstate in Buffalo who are hardcore Bills fans. In fact, I've got so many of my closest friends that are hard scrabble, heartbroken Bills fans, and I'm going up there every single year the last couple of seasons to really enjoy the experience. I'm going up there again this year. I'm thinking, I got to do this on a weekly basis. Just dig into what is going on in Bills land. So that's what we're doing. We'll be live after every single Bills game right here on YouTube and the other social media platforms. That's what I got for you. I am ready to go. We will be live immediately after preseason game number 2 against the Bears on Sunday night. But here is where we stand through the first game and 2 episodes of Hard Knocks of the Bills preseason. Every single week, we will break things down in 3 parts. And the first part is the good. Shout. So when it comes to the good stuff for the Buffalo Bills, so far, there's plenty of good. Okay, let's start here with the good. The running back situation and the depth chart. James Cook resigns. That's the most important piece of the puzzle, of course. Is there always a risk in re-signing or spending big money on running backs? Sure, because if there's a piece on the chessboard that is replaceable with value picks later in the draft, it would be running back. But Cook is so valuable to that offense. He's so good around the goal line. And this is a moment in time where if the Bills are nickel and diming and trying to save money here or there, then it kind of undermines the whole process of we have to win a Super Bowl. It doesn't suggest that ownership or the front office is as invested as the players and maybe the fan base needs to be. So I think you got to get it done from an optic standpoint, but also Josh loves him. The team loves him. He's an incredibly productive back. He's in his prime, and you're at the doorstep of winning a Super Bowl, getting to a Super Bowl. You are one of the premier organizations in this league. I think re-signing him was the only play for the Bills. But I will say this. There was a lot of good, I thought, that came out of the Giants preseason game and so far in the training camp of preseason. I thought against the Giants, you saw a couple of young running backs flash, namely Frank Gore Jr. He was highlighted on Hard Knocks. You saw how the coaches and front office were really enamored with him. I loved his tackle breaking ability. I liked some of the moves that he made on the field against the Giants when he finally did get some touches. He was elusive, but also powerful. He drove head first. He hit the hole well. I really liked what I saw from Frank Gore Jr., and he would be depth in this backfield because there's a couple of good runs from Ty Johnson, broke a few tackles in that game. And also you saw the touchdown by Evans, which is a nice catch out of the backfield, flaring open behind the defense. So he gets into the end zone. So you have some options at running back, and you get the biggest option, James Cook, back in the fold. Good things for the running backs depth chart. If we're going to give out some more shouts, I think the wide receiving competition is really interesting. You had the big play from Shavers at the end of the first half, getting behind the defense. You also had a good one-handed effort from Wilkerson, who didn't get both feet in, but I thought body control and getting at least your hand on it and hauling it in is a pretty nice athletic play. But what you see from the Bills front office is, so obviously they have types. The running backs all look the same and have a lot of the similar assets. I think wide receiving wise, you're looking at a front office that has long, rangy wide receivers as what they want, as what to emulate. And the idea being you lose a guy to injury, another guy can step in swiftly. And so you have a lot of interchangeable parts. So the wide receiving competition, I think, has been one of the more interesting competitions over the course of camp and maybe shakes out a little bit more against the Bears coming up on Sunday night. More shouts. Another shout I'm going to give to the front four of the Buffalo Bills. Early in this game, you saw the pass rush really dial it up and get some decent pressure on the Giants quarterbacks. They got that false start that they drew on the Giants. Clearly, the Giants' offensive line was kind of on their heels. Good pressure, forced an incompletion to stall that first drive, and some early pressure on both Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson you saw from the Bills. That's good. That's mandatory to win in today's NFL. You have to have the pass rush, and let's face it, in the AFC, when push comes to shove, the Bills' front four and front seven will have to get to Mahomes, to Lamar, to Herbert, to, pick your poison, Joe Burrow, whoever you are facing in the playoffs, you got to be able to get to them. And so that was a good start to the preseason by that front four. Quarterback two competition is interesting. We saw that highlighted again also by the folks over at Hard Knocks. Mitch Trubisky and Mike White both bring certain interesting intangibles to the competition. For Trubisky, he showed some evasiveness in that game and got a few good throws away. And, of course, he has all the experience, having a lot of starts under his belt. So, as the coaching staff has alluded to and as the team has alluded to multiple times, the moment shouldn't be too big for Trubisky. The thing about Mike White that I like a little bit better is that White has a fire within him that I think if the occasion called for it and the Bills needed him to step in and do something, I think Mike White just has a little bit more excitability to get those guys fired up. There's a thing about Trubisky that I always feel like there's another gear he can click into that he doesn't. And Mike White maybe sometimes click too far into that gear. But I like that if you're looking for kind of this, temporary pop that you need to the offense to pick the guys up, I think White's got it, and we know how good White's arm can be. That was on display in that game against the Giants as well. Buffalo Joe's growth. I mean, Andreessen was all over the field again. I know he drops the would-be interception, but what you're looking for from backup linebacker depth and a guy like Joe is just nose for the football, getting around the plays, proving that he's always going to be in the action. And Andreessen showed that time and time again against the Giants. How can you not love this guy's story? And going kind of deeper into with Hard Knocks, that was really cool as well. So I just thought on film, the game film of Andreessen against the Giants, I thought there was more good than bad, certainly. And a guy that everybody is rooting for, obviously, in Western New York. And then the inside look at this team, there's been some cool moments by Hard Knocks, one of which was what the guys were traveling with up to St. John's Fisher, and Taron Johnson bringing toilet paper. Look, that's a veteran move. You want headiness on the football field, and Taron Johnson bringing his own higher quality TP, just a smart, savvy play by a young guy who is already learning, okay, here's how I level up. I've stayed in dorms for training camp. I covered the Kansas City Chiefs in 04, 05, 06, 07 when they were up at UW River Falls in Wisconsin, and we stayed on campus to cover the team. And wouldn't you know it? I mean, Johnson's right on it. That's really bad toilet paper. That's you need something else if you're going to be there for 2.5 weeks. I like Johnson's, again, headiness there. Really smart playmaking by the young guy. Also, the fact that Andreessen brought a Yoda blanket, I just think is amazing. Here's a linebacker in the NFL who's curling up on his dorm bed with a Yoda binky. I just think that image is absolutely phenomenal. So those are the goods. Those are the shouts to this point in the preseason for the Buffalo Bills. It's not always good, though. Every single week we have to break down the negatives as well. So there's some hard knocks. So the hard knock life is going to be, the negatives here for the Buffalo Bills throughout the season. And I thought the number one thing that stood out in the preseason game was missed tackles. There was too many missed tackles, and I know that it's early, and I know that it's the first time really hitting an opponent, and so you have to have some leniency and some patience with the D. But, 3rd and long on the opening drive is extended because of missed tackles. You have missed tackles on the Damon Washington big play as well. You had first downs picked up because of lackadaisical tackling. I think, again, something that can be easily tightened up, but that was one thing that the Bills defense, I'm sure, has been, honing in on this week leading into this second preseason game against the Bears. That was the thing that stuck out to me. Number 2, and we all know the third down defense last year was an item of intense scrutiny for the Bills defense. It happened again to this game. When the numbers don't lie, the Giants went 9 of 19 on third down versus the Bills, who went 1 of 9 on third down. So think about that discrepancy in percentage. If you add in the Giants going 2 for 2 on fourth down, total, they went 11 of 21 on third and fourth down, which is more than a 50% clip. You got to get off the football field. And because that was something that is obviously a point of contention from last year, third down defense is always going to be super hyper focused on. Bills have to do better on their third down defense. There was a 3rd and 9 where the Giants picked up 15 on the screen pass. There was a 3rd and 2 that they picked up with some missed tackles. Third down defense, it's been hammered on top of our heads for, how long now. It's going to obviously be another specific point of contention this year, and it wasn't great against the Giants. Off the field, or I should say away from the Bills, I suppose, Hawkeye technology. You could just hear the exasperation in Steve Tasker's voice, understandably so, with how long it took to get that play spotted. And I know it's the preseason, and I know that Andrew Catalon, who's a close friend of mine, who is on the play-by-play call, is saying, oh, this is what the preseason is also for, Steve, which is right. But, I mean, it can't be like that in the regular season, or else don't have it. The Hawkeye technology taking, how many minutes just to spot a football? I mean, my goodness, guys, can we speed it up? Right? It was like saying, oh, we're gonna streamline everything with technology. It's gonna be so much easier to communicate. And then it taking, 12 different times on a rotary phone to call up grandma. That cannot be the future. That was extremely painful to watch them walk through. And also, I mean, how about the savageness, the savagery of the long shot on Jacob Bayer after the terrible snap? I mean, boy, did that TV crew hold that shot long. Here's a guy that, his career, his livelihood is right now put on awful display for everybody. He's a low-string center without any job security, and here he is, snap over the head, bouncing back the other way deep in his own territory. Of course, I mean, this kid is going through it, thinking like, this is my shot, and I completely blew it. And the TV crew just held that shot for so long. I'm like, man, I don't want to get on the wrong side of that preseason telecast. Wow. It's tough. That's, man, yikes. I know. Look, that play, if he gets in due to injury, makes the team, etc., can completely lose an entire game, and who knows what that means in the grand scheme of things. So it's a big deal. It can't happen. But boy, oh boy, we watched in agony as Bayer had to sit in that like a dog that went in the corner. Sit in it. I want you to sit in this right now. Tough to watch. Now, throughout this season also, we are looking for something that might be a little mystical that says this is the year for the Buffalo Bills because, man, this organization deserves it. Boy, that quarterback deserves it. And this fan base more than anything deserves it. And one thing that to me is a symbol of greatness that's just a little bit magical is the buffalo itself. In so many indigenous cultures, so many ancient cultures, the buffalo is a sacred animal, is a sacred object. And so this year, we will also honor the buffalo. So how do we honor the buffalo? We look at things that are just a little bit bigger than, okay? And I thought the Tre'Davious White with a Maxwell Hairston and talking about why he's really taken focus to helping Hairston out was really cool because there's a guy who just appreciates so much his tenure in Buffalo and coming back after his stint in Los Angeles and Baltimore and saying, I'm not going to be playing forever. It's up to me to help this organization continue to win after I'm gone, which is a pretty large view thing. And when you have that in your locker room, it is so incredibly valuable. So Tre'Davious White was just awesome in both episodes. We know the type of energy and humility and positivity that he brings, but that was really it on display. And also him running up that hill was so inspirational. I mean, images of Walter Payton or Jerry Rice running up the hill as well. I just thought that was awesome. And Tre'Davious White's gratitude in coming back to Buffalo and feeling so complete in coming back to Buffalo. How can that be a negative for this organization? I thought, you don't see that true love of where you are often because of the business, because of the money, because of the pressures, because of how cutthroat it is. A lot of players, wherever they play, might appreciate where they are, but not truly be grateful for what's going on. And clearly, White is that guy. So that was freaking awesome. Also, can we just give a moment for Takeo Spikes being a real one? The story from Andreessen's mom about him going to training camp in the Spikes jersey, waiting for Takeo to sign autographs. And, as his mom is retelling it, you're going, oh, I hope Takeo Spikes didn't just walk away. This would be really a terrible story. It would be heartbreaking. You're just hoping that the story ends with Spikes actually signing the jersey. And not only does he come back once he hears Buffalo Joe's cries, the little kid crying, Takeo, I love you. But also you see the picture of them walking together. Thank goodness Takeo Spikes was that good of a dude, because that makes that story. That makes that story so awesome. And anybody, including myself, who's been to St. John's Fisher for training camp, you just know the love that pours out. And that story is perfect, but only because Takeo Spikes is a real one to come back and say, I got to sign this kid's jersey, then come with me. Amazing. The Bills fan montage was really awesome, and how the Hard Knocks crew mixed it with the hip hop song Hope was just incredible. I just thought that imagery and that editing and that montage was so inspirational that, like, God, it just gets you so fired up and so ready for the season. And it was done so exquisitely. The job done technically on that montage just kind of captured the whole vibe. It was really perfect of where this franchise and fan base is. But it was really put over the top by the woman who talked about the most memorable moment of her Bills Mafia tailgating. And that would be when her husband's friend drank her breast milk. And for any of us who's been to one of these glorious Bills tailgates, we all know that that sounds completely in line for what you might see. And I just like that this woman was getting so choked up talking about the idea of the Bills perhaps finally breaking through and winning a Super Bowl, spliced between her talking about that one time my husband's friend drank my breast milk at a tailgate. Chef's kiss. I'm going to be with you after every single Bills game as soon as it goes final, and that includes Game 2 against the Bears on Sunday night. So be here on YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That way you'll get an alert, a notification when we go live. It'll remind you, hey, DA is live on Bill Matic right now. Also, remember, throughout the year, I'm going to be taking questions live with you also. So in the comment section, make sure on Sunday night you hit me up with your thoughts, maybe your shouts, your hard knocks, and you're honoring thy Buffalo, because I'll read through them as well and answer as many questions as I can and get your voice heard in here as well, because, you know, the Bills Mafia, the Bills fan vibe of this is through and through, and it runs deep. We are Bill Matic, chronicling this season of Bills football and the final season of Bills Stadium history in the old barn. So come with me on this journey. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I cannot wait to do this after every Bills game live. I'll see you on Sunday night. As we like to say on my show, be good and be good to one another. Bill Matic disconnects.